are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. You can follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, on the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. The Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers, two crucial matchups in that game. How do the Packers protect Aaron Rodgers, and how do the 49ers stop Davante Adams? I wrote about the Davante Adams piece of this in the Leap newsletter today, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. You can go find that for subscribers, or you can subscribe and you can find that content there. Today on the show, Matt Ramage is here. Ramblin' Matt. I love Matt. You may think of him as Matt Rampage. It's not his name, but he's here. I thought it would be fun to get a fan perspective on the show today, and so we got Matt, and he's great. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen of the day. We love starting our day with you just as much as you love starting your day with us. Let's start with the offensive line part of this, though, because there has been this conversation about how the Packers stack their offensive line this week. And I think you can make the case that the best five out there would be David Bakhtiari, John Runyon Jr., Josh Myers, Billy Turner at right guard, and Dennis Kelly at right tackle. I do not buy that. And it's very important in this game as to why not. And the reason I don't think that makes sense in this game is because San Francisco wants to pressure you with four. They don't want to blitz you. Now, they're going to have some exotic blitz looks, some third down blitz looks, and they're going to find some ways here and there to bring pressure. But what they do so expertly is run games up front with the defensive line. Twists, stunts. Joe Thomas, go back and listen to that episode from last week where he talks about dealing with tackle end and end tackle stunts and finding ways as offensive linemen to try and identify, okay, this is happening. I need to take this path to my defender, the guy that I am supposed to block. I need to recognize this about what my defender's doing, and that keys me in on, oh, okay, I need to slide this direction. Or if I'm a quarterback or I'm a center and I'm identifying pass protection, I see this is happening. I need to slide this way, all that stuff. There's a lot of nuance to it. And we're not going to get into that on this episode. Go find that Joe Thomas episode. The Packers need the continuity. One of the things that Joe Thomas talked about was how important the continuity part of this is when it comes to dealing with the games that you're going to face from a team like San Francisco. The continuity is crucial. Josh Myers has been the center from August. David Bakhtiari has been the left tackle in Green Bay for a decade. John Runyon Jr. has been on this team now for 2 years. Billy Turner has been the right tackle now for 2 years, and Lucas Patrick was the right guard last year. So, in terms of guys who were on the field last year, for example, last year in November, Lucas Patrick was the right guard. Billy Turner was the right tackle. David Bakhtiari was the left tackle, and John Runyon Jr. was the left guard because Elton Jenkins was playing center when Corey Linsley was hurt. This group, essentially, with Josh Myers in for Corey Linsley, has played together before. This is not the time to get cute with your offensive line. I think saying we want to put our best five out there is a wonderful idea. It is a commendable premise. I don't think it's the way that you can look at, even with the bye week, dealing with a 49ers front with Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead, and even some of the backups guys like Charles Omenihu had a sack on Tyron Smith last week. And they've gotten good snaps from Arden Key, a reclamation project. And their true interior defenders are better than their name recognition would tell you that they are. So you have to have that continuity. You have to have that consistency. Now, luckily for Green Bay, even in games where, they weren't superlative pass blocking and where they didn't have a lot of their best guys over the course of the season, this team was still really, really good protecting Aaron Rodgers. They were 5th in ESPN's pass block win rate. This was a top 10 team all season in Pro Football Focus pass block rate. Josh Myers, one of the best centers in the league in pass block rate. David Bakhtiari, we know, is arguably the best pass blocking left tackle in football. And the Lucas Patrick part of this, I know that that's the question. Can you get a better, you start right guard, right tackle. Can you get a better group than Lucas Patrick, Billy Turner? If you think Dennis Kelly is better at right tackle and Billy Turner is more valuable at right guard, maybe, but I think Billy Turner is a better right tackle. That's more valuable because you can't put Nick Bosa over there. If Dennis Kelly's in the game, they're going to put Nick Bosa over there every play. Maybe not every play, but certainly every third down. They're going to overload that side. They are going to test the strength of that right side if you experiment with who's out there. Now, the flip side of that is you are going to try, and that's why you have Billy Turner cross-trained. He played 2019 at right guard. It's why you bring in Dennis Kelly. It's why you have Lucas Patrick. The other part of this that is not offensive line related specifically, but the Packers have beaten opposing defenses that try and play this two-shell coverage by attacking with Davante Adams underneath and the quick game and the rhythm passing game. That has been their antidote. It's not just been run the ball. They try to run the ball. This front, David Bakhtiari getting back, Josh Myers getting back, Lucas Patrick playing on the right side. That might help all of this. But they haven't been able to run the ball to punish teams for playing that two-shell. They have been able to pass the ball to punish teams for playing that two-shell. And for the Packers, Davante Adams has been, even in games where they haven't been, let's say, great. You go back to the 2019 games. Davante Adams has found ways to create against this team. Last 5 games. Ready? 12 for 132 and a touchdown. 10 for 173 and a touchdown. 9 for 138 and a touchdown. 7 for 43 and a touchdown. 10 for 132 and 2 touchdowns. This team, this 49ers team, has no answer for Davante Adams. And if you want to look at this game from a Packers perspective and say, okay, why will this game be different for the Packers than it was for Dallas? And the reason is Green Bay is so much better at playing matchup football. They are so much better at saying, we like this matchup in this game, and so we're just going to spam it, and we're going to find a million different ways. If we think Davante Adams against your slot corner is barbecue chicken, then he's going to play all day in the slot, and it's going to be slot fades, and it's going to be choice routes, and it's going to be sail, and it's going to be two-way goes where you either need to bring a safety, which is really tough, or you are going to have to just live. You're going to have to pressure Aaron Rodgers. You're going to have to blitz Aaron Rodgers because with 4, it's really tough to get there in time because they're either going to go quick game or he's going to hit you with that transition go, that 3-step go ball, which is essentially impossible from the slot to defend because it's Davante Adams and grass, and you got to defend all of that. Good luck. But they're going to put him in RPO situations, in receiver screen situations, in just quick little stop route, 3-yard stop routes, where you're worried about him taking the top off, or you're worrying about him stutter going you, double move, slant and go. Like, there are so many ways Davante Adams can beat you. And the Packers get to those ways. They scheme up those ways. You look at the touchdown that Davante Adams scored earlier in the season. It was a riff on a play that they've run, 4 or 5 times in different variations this season with the jet motion. And you've got the pop pass. He comes in motion. He comes back. They're expecting the pop pass. He comes back. It's a walk-in touchdown. what they do with Davante Adams to make things easy in just the quick, he's open throws, then loosens the defense for when you need to make it hard, for when it's 3rd and 8, or when it's 3rd and 3 and Rodgers just wants to have some fun and he wants to chuck it downfield and he wants to show off a little bit that this is the best 1-2 combination in football. That's the trump card that they have that the Cowboys didn't have. Aaron Rodgers is playing much better than Dak Prescott. And Davante Adams, all due respect to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and Cedric Wilson and Dalton Schultz and the weapons that Dallas has, even if Michael Gallup were healthy, Davante Adams is just a different dude. And he has proven that over and over against this defense, against this personnel. They have no answers for him. So why did I bring these things up together? If you can protect Rodgers, then you can take your shots to MVS, to Allen Lazard, to the tight ends, and get down the field. And even if you can't over 4 quarters consistently, you know the quick game with Davante Adams, who's got the best release package in football and who has this preternatural connection with Aaron Rodgers, that he doesn't even have to be open and you can get a completion. That's the trump card that they have against San Francisco, against Tampa, against Buffalo, against Kansas City, against whomever. Those two things together, if the Packers can protect, it's over. You can't stop this team. And even if you can't, and we were worried that they couldn't in that first game, and Josh Nijman holds up. Now they've got David Bakhtiari. They've got Josh Myers. They've got Lucas Patrick out there instead of Royce Newman. If they can deal with those twists and stunts, it also might be able to make them run the ball a little bit better, although San Francisco is an extremely stout run defense. Then you have a chance to tear up a group of corners that's just not very good. And even against the best corners in the league, we've seen Davante Adams get the better of them time and time again. All right, we are going to get to my conversation with Matt Ramage in a little bit. But before we do that, let's talk about TurboTax Live. People think unusual circumstances mean complicated taxes, but for TurboTax Live experts, that's what makes things interesting. Life changes are exciting, but they usually have tax implications. Maybe you were a full-time employee who decided to freelance, and now you have some advice, or you need some advice on how to file as a contractor. Maybe you started driving rideshare after your 9-to-5 job, or maybe you work in one state but live in another, and you need help reporting your income. Luckily, TurboTax Live has experienced experts dedicated to answering all of your questions and finding every deduction for you. And you can talk to them from your phone without ever having to leave your house. Whether you got married, had kids, or changed careers, TurboTax Live experts are ready to help you with your unique tax situation and get you the best tax outcome. The TurboTax Live experts, an interesting life can mean an even greater refund. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more.